Discovery.
This week I'm joined by Gaz.
Hello.
And Mike.
Hello.
And we're going to have a bit of, I suppose it's a bit off kilter for us in a way. Free will versus determinism. We're going to have a little debate after we've presented you with some theories. I'm going to call it facts because they are theories.
Don't tell me what to do.
Oh yeah, well you do have free will. You can do it or not.
Or maybe not. Or do I?
Alright, let's thank some new and returning listeners and then we'll get into it. Maibashi in Japan. I think I did that alright actually.
Not too bad.
Nottingham in the UK. West Covina in the US. Chard in the UK. Capalbio in Italy. Bristol in the UK. Honfoss in Norway. Greenville in the US. Great Malvern in the UK. Brussels, Belgium. Dublin, Ireland. Gillingham of all places in England.
Gillingham?
And Ashburn, which is in the US. Thank you for listening. Tell a friend, tell several friends, if you got them.
Japan. I watched last weekend 6 films in a row.
It's impressive.
6? No, not in one day. Over the
right.
weekend, right? 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. All 6 films were subtitled Japanese. There's basically Ultraman. There's 10 films. I'm going to watch all 10. But on the Monday, I was in the van thinking, so you've had 12 hours of Japanese language fired at your brain this weekend. Have you picked anything up? No. All I can tell you is that when they say okay, hi, and Ultraman is pronounced Ultraman.
Right, well.
So yeah, there you go. Hi, which sounds like they're going okay, isn't it? Guys, could you pass me that spoon? Okay. Anyway, that's my Japanese lesson. Let's continue.
Thanks for that.
Informative.
Ultraman.
Follow us on Facebook at Cutting to the Ball in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. YouTube is Apocalypse Ball. What's the last one? Cutting to the Ball in the PTA on SoundCloud, Spotify, and all your other podcasting platforms.
Certainly is.
Smooth.
Like
butter.
It'll sound smoother with the magic of editing.
Fuck it, leave it in, man.
Free will versus determinism. It revolves around how our behaviour results from forces over which we have no control, or whether people can decide to act or behave in a certain way.
That's the crux of it, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Well, full disclosure, I watched a few videos, but I didn't read everything that you sent me. And my plan is, I want you to, because I think you both disagree on this.
We do.
I think we do, yeah.
I'm going to be the third. I want you to try and convince me either way, and I'll give you my conclusion at the end, because fucking hell, it's a bit over my head if I'm being honest with you.
The quantum entanglement stuff
Oh,
was...
yeah.
We won't be diving too deeply into that.
Gave myself an headache trying to understand that.
There's an episode, Red Dwarf deals with that, doesn't it, where the cat and Crichton get quantumly entangled.
Yeah.
They start saying things at exactly the same time. It's one of the newer ones. But yes, so, because it's one of them things where I'm listening to them talk about it, and as I'm listening to them, I'm following and I'm understanding. But if you ask me to explain it to you, you got no hope. So,
well, let's start with determinism, shall we?
The determinist approach proposes that all behaviour has a cause and thus is predictable. Free will is an illusion, and our behaviour is governed by internal or external forces over which we have no control.
destiny.
Yeah, everything's predetermined by, I guess, past experience and learning.
Right.
Genetics.
The algorithm of your brain will make you go a certain way.
But things happen. Continue.
The chemical sort of processes in your brain, they're the ones responsible for you making them decisions. Basically, this argument says we're like a chemical robot that reacts to stimuli, whether internal, external, and that basically gives us the illusion of choice. But but really it's all just sort of biochemical impulses and
An internal algorithm. It knows what you like and what you want to do.
think of yourself as a
makes you do it.
computer. So all the input you get throughout your life.
Right, I get. But let's say if I'm walking home later and a car swerves at me, my decision to dive out the way
But is it?
it's got fuck all to do with what happened to me.
What might be your primal sort of instincts?
But then you've got
Fight
survival
or
instinct
flight.
which kicks in, which is a bit different.
The old lizard brain kicks in.
And
doesn't
also,
But
you
what
know the
if-
consequences of what will happen,
what
so
if
you're going
it's-
to dive out the way.
What if it swears at me and I go, do you know what? Life is a bit shit.
We shouldn't laugh at that, really.
And I just let it hit me.
Then that would be your choice, and
Yeah,
that would
would
over.
it?
But that would override. But that is a choice because it's overriding the natural fight or
My
flight
natural,
survival.
yeah.
Of
My-
all the instincts that he's had,
Mhm.
all the input that he's had, the experiences that have led him down to that moment, make you make that choice.
I think there's still a bigger choice to stand there and take the car hit because it goes against everything you want to do. Your overriding survival, your overriding instinct is to survive.
I'm
So
trying
to stand there is overriding that instinct,
Yeah, but
which is a
something's sort of
choice.
led him to that point.
No, 'cause
He's
I'm
depressed.
I'm just walking along.
Therefore, something that would have happened to make him depressed, make him go down that route.
Yeah, but I mean, not all depressed people kill themselves.
Of course they
But the thing is, what I'm saying though is that all that's true. Yeah, the things that have made me depressed, but they've got no bearing on that car swerving at me, have they?
No, that's
See?
when you're, in my
So
opinion,
you can't control all these other things that are going to happen to you, like random events and things, and like your response to them. I don't know.
Then you have to think what led that person to swerve. Was he drunk? Was he texting?
And he made the decision to drunk drive.
Or was he an alcoholic because his genetics made him that way?
Oh, everyone has a choice.
Well, we'll get down to it.
There's different types of determinism because they scrabble for ideas, in my view. External or environmental determinism sees the cause of behaviour as being outside the individual, such as parental influence, the media or school. Approaches that adopt this position include behaviouralism and social learning theory. And we are blank slates, we pick up a lot.
Yeah, we're starting to understand this now, aren't we?
You know, for example, children became aggressive through observation and imitation of violent parents.
Yeah, and we don't beat the child if he can't spell anymore.
Well,
It's your fault, you're an ignorant little shit.
speak for yourself.
This is why Gaz never lasted long in that teaching job.
Any excuse to hit a child.
But now we understand that kid is not very good at reading because his parents didn't read with him, or he's got a learning difficulty, or whatever.
He's thick as fuck.
He could just be thick as fuck. It does happen.
Some people have just got 9-volt brains.
Yeah, people from Norwich usually. Well, the ones I've met anyway.
Well, it's weird, isn't it? Have you heard of like... Oh God, this is bizarre. There's a type of breast augmentation. It's not silicone. They're like liposuction. Pull the fat out your belly or your arse or something and
Right.
pump it into the bosoms.
Okay.
So it's like a natural breast augmentation. Anyway, I was talking about this. I was with my friend and the Romanian guy who lives upstairs. And I was telling my friend about this. And the Romanian guy was just like, this is impossible. This is bullshit. I was really angry. And I was like...
Did he say in Soviet Russia
I was
this
like-
wouldn't happen?
I was like, no, it's not, dude. I'm just like, literally wanked over the woman with the biggest naturally augmented breasts. I was like, went down a rabbit hole. I read all. It's like a thing that's fucking impossible. You talk shit. And I'm like, what the fucking?
You know what his problem is, isn't it? He's got cognitive dissonance.
He's thick as fuck. He's got a 9-volt brain. He just wouldn't have it. He was like, this is impossible. Well, it's not.
Yeah, but he grew up in Romania queuing for bread.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know.
The sawdust in his bread, bless him.
That's true. I
all
mean,
that radiation from Chernobyl. I mean,
Yeah.
fucking hell.
occasionally one of his relatives back in Romania powers up the steam-powered phone and checks in on
They
him.
throw coal onto it, into the furnace. And, yeah.
So that was loosely related to people being thick. How did we get there? People's brains being imprinted on.
External determinism from the environment.
Oh, what's that quote? We are nothing but the sum of our genes and our experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who said it, but it's a quote.
Claim it, Gaz.
I think it was Popeye.
Well, it's also I am what I am, and that's all that I am.
You do realise those things on your arms are tumours.
It's been 6 months. Yeah, you had a massive stroke several years ago. And the fact that you're still walking around and talking is nothing short of a miracle.
Family Guy.
Well, the imprinted thing, like in simple example, if your mum was shit scared of spiders, like mine was when you're little, you will be shit scared of spiders.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works. You look at your parents, see what they're up to
Of course, we learn so much from them, don't we?
when you're little.
We don't learn just the good stuff, we learn the bad stuff as well.
But at the same time, you can break that.
You can.
You can make that decision, be nothing like your parents.
Mm. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Alright, internal determinism. The other main supporters of determinism are those who adopt a biological perspective. However, for them, it is internal, not external forces that are the determining factor. And according to sociobiology, evolution governs the behaviour of a species and the genetic inheritance of each individual within it. So, Bowlby in 1969, this is very psychology, this, guys. I remember doing my psychology, it's like, Bowlby, 1969, like, who the fuck's he? He states a child, he or she states a child has an innate, i.e. inborn need to attach to one main attachment figure, which is monotropy. Personality traits like extroversion or neuroticism and the behaviour associated with them are triggered by neurological and hormonal processes in the body, and there is no need for the concept of an autonomous human being. Ultimately, this view sees us as no more than biological machines, and even consciousness itself is interpreted as a level of arousal in the nervous system. What a sad way to look at the miracle
I was
of
just
life.
thinking, this was making me think of like a colony of ants just scurrying about, like just doing their shit, like
Yeah. What makes the ant do what it does?
chemicals.
Yep.
What a sad way to look at things.
Yeah, but look at all the mad variety though. If you like, all ants are the same, aren't they? Well, they're not. But you know what I mean? Like they can only do their little
Yep.
thing. They want little, feed the colony, feed the queen, whatever. But like, look at all the fucking vast array of freaks and fucking weirdos, and look at how many insanely inventive and ridiculous ways of wasting our time we've come up with across the. I don't like thinking of us like an ant colony because of how much variation there is. Like
Yeah, I think we're more than an ant colony.
Yeah, we're more like apes, aren't we? Baboons and things.
Do you know the only way to leave the anthill is in a body bag?
The only way to leave the Masonic slave farm is
We're
in a
in the
body
colony
bag.
for life.
Have you been watching Ants? Or A Bug's Life? Ants, probably specifically with that.
That speech.
Psychic determination. Freud, so we can take this with a pinch of salt because it's
What?
Sigmund Freud.
What a motherfucker.
A lot of Freud's ideas have gone out the window now, haven't they? So he also viewed behaviour as being controlled from inside the individual through unconscious motivation, like wanting to have sex with your mom, or childhood events known as psychic determinism. Freud used this principle to explain phenomena like slips of the tongue, Freudian slips, dreams and symptoms of mental disorders, arguing they all have meaningful explanations rooted in the individual's unconscious mind.
This is my favourite one, the next one.
Hard determinism.
Hard.
Because it has levels, hard determinism. They're behaviourists are strong believers in hard determinism. Their most forthright and articulate spokesman has been B.F. Skinner. Concepts like free will and motivation are dismissed as illusions that disguise the real causes of human behaviour. Let's just strip away the human spirit while we're at it.
You're just a fucking meat robot.
That's it.
Let's strip away everything that makes us good and individual and.
But if we understand ourselves better, if this is true...
maybe if someone had loved B.F. Skinner a bit more when he was a kid, he wouldn't be such a fucking downer.
It's not about whether being downer or not, it's finding the truth, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's
truth
just,
of
this is what
everything.
he thinks it is because he's probably clearly fucking depressed.
Thing with philosophy is,
Well, this is psychology, technically.
well, psychology, philosophy. There's a lot of fucking.
As if some butch, you can't prove it.
Yeah, there's a lot of hot air in there, and like. Well, what if?
It's all about concepts, isn't it?
I don't know.
This philosophy deals with the stuff that is almost impossible to prove or disprove.
I was listening to something earlier that said that they can predict when you're about to move, things like that.
I watched a program about ice hockey goaltenders, yeah, and they wondered how they save the shots because they're coming so fast at them. And the ice hockey players, they're slowing the video down. They're moving before he's hit his shot.
Yeah.
And they're watching like micro sort of movements and things, and they're picking up on where from the angle he's got the stick, you know, the speed that he's skating, how many players are around him, you know, where's the gap. And they can figure that all out in a split second and make the save.
It's the same with, I'd argue that's the
Are
same
they
with
free
football as
will
well.
to make that save, or is it?
Well, in that case, I see what you're getting at, because it's his free will to make that save. But if he decides not to make that save, then his team are going to lose, and he doesn't want that to happen.
Consequences, isn't it? The consequences are force him to make that
But then
choice.
Bruce Grobbelaar famously decided he wanted his team to lose and let a lot of goals in.
But what the fuck has all my past experiences got to do? I am deciding right now I'm going to take a toke on this cigarette. Me, I'm deciding. Nothing to do with childhood trauma.
What led you to smoke in the first place?
Trying to impress a girl.
Made that decision to do that.
But did you?
Well, I told her I knew what I was doing and I could smoke. She wanted somebody to go with her up the alleyway, and I went, and she passed at me, and I went, Jesus fucking, like, may have been a little bit sick, and she was like, "You've never smoked, have you?" Oh.
Oh, how old are you then? About 12, 13?
Well, I'd do anything to stand next to you.
Was she an older girl as well?
Oh yeah, she was about 16.
No.
Louise Cooper. Oh god, she's my friend's older sister. Oh god, Louise. She awakened things in me.
I don't remember her.
Anyway, sorry.
If you want to cross your legs, I can see your erection.
Hard determinism. Then.
He's hard and he's determined.
Well, let's go on to soft determinism. So
Yes, let's get rid of it.
that represents a middle ground. People do have a choice, but that choice is constrained by external or internal factors.
This is me. I'm in the middle ground.
For example, being poor doesn't make you steal, but it may make you more likely to take that route through desperation. It suggests that some behaviours are more constrained than others, and that there is an element of free will in all behaviour. However, a problem with determinism is that it is inconsistent with society's ideas of responsibility and self-control that form the basis of our moral and legal obligations.
Isn't it just? Think of the implications. If we're not really in control of our actions, how can you punish that person for doing?
But then you're just letting people get away with everything.
It wasn't my fault, Governor. It was determinism.
You know, have you seen that in America they're trying to push through this minor attracted persons crap?
No, I haven't.
Right?
Yeah.
And so if someone molests a child, they're a minor attracted person, it wasn't their fault. Well, no, it fucking is their fault.
Burn it with fire.
Yes.
See,
Maybe not, but you know.
well, I'm surprised nobody's tried this as a legal defence.
This is because free will stands.
Actually, no, it doesn't actually, because there are crimes of passion. And they are given more lenient sentences.
Very extreme
Does
circumstances. It does happen, like a guy who
Their
comes in
mental
and finds
state.
his wife having sex with another man, he takes
Yeah.
a gun and shoots the dude and shoots her.
Yeah.
Right?
They
Lost
take
his
that
mind.
into account, don't they?
But he's still got to fucking make that decision.
in fact,
Is bestiality a crime of passion?
Depends on what the sheep's done. You notice I went straight to sheep.
You did.
it depends if you had forethought. Did you buy the sheep specifically to shag it? Or did you just happen
I'm
to...
not going to buy the sheep, man.
How much money do you think he's got? Probably 150 quid for a
Did you
sheep.
steal the sheep?
I just went in someone's field.
Did you go there with the intention of shagging the sheep?
No,
or?
I just couldn't help it. It was waving its fanny at me. And
You gave him a wave and
it said, "Fuck me."
Your fly happened to be open, you had an erection, just slipped out.
you
it
fell,
tripped.
you tripped.
I tripped in a cow pat, and next thing I know, I'm balls deep.
And you thought, well, while I'm here,
But because people, because all the people in jail, well, not all of them, some of them are innocent, aren't they? But people who've committed crimes, they have chose to commit that crime.
yes.
Like, I suppose you could say, and this is a bit of a dark example, but you know how they say people who get sexually abused as children tend, not always, but they tend to grow up and do some abusing themselves.
Yeah.
Well, that's an example of determinism, isn't
Of
it?
course it is, yeah.
But some people are abused as children and don't continue that cycle. So have they broke determinism?
Yes. They're exhibiting free will. I'm not going to do that to somebody else because I know what it did to me.
In that case, it's soft determinism, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it would be.
I think, so far, I think there's a bit of both going on. I think we are compelled to do certain things by our genes, what was given to us by our parents,
Our experiences,
but then there's also
emotional state at the time.
you're making choices. You know, somebody cuts me up in the van, I have a split second to decide, am I going to let this cause me to scream, "You stupid motherfucker," or am I going to let this one go? And I choose to let it go sometimes.
Wow.
I've got better. I've mellowed it.
But what made you make that choice? Is it past events? Because you've got angry and nothing's happened, you haven't solved the
Well,
problem.
I've realised if you let every cunt, when you're driving for a
Yeah.
living, if you let every cunt that cuts you up make you angry, you're going to be angry.
Well, then is that
all
the
day.
experiences that you've had are pushing you towards that, making that choice?
Yes, but I still made the choice
But did you?
based on yeah, because it's me. You know, I chose to have a cheeky wank before I left the house this morning. Sorry, listener, but like that was a choice. I wasn't compelled.
Were you not compelled by your...
No, I was literally like, oh, I've got 20 minutes to kill. It's not long enough to put the PlayStation on. Oh,
Did your horniness make you do that? It's the chemical things in your brain? Your levels of testosterone? Is it your pancreas that's making you have a wank?
So nothing I've ever done has been my own decision.
Well, we don't know. We don't know. This is the debate, isn't it? We're not sure. Well, let's look at free will, shall we?
Yeah.
Free willy.
Free will is the idea that we're able to have some choice in how we act and assumes that we are free to choose our behaviour. In other words, we are self-determined. This is where I come down. For example, people can make a free choice as to whether to commit a crime or not, unless they're a child or they are insane. Apparently.
I'm just imagining an insane child going on a rampage now.
What happens if an insane child does go on a rampage?
Leave him alone, it's not his fault, he's got no
Do
free
the
will.
police tase them? I mean,
That's an interesting question, actually.
what if he's got a suicide vest? Are they allowed to take the shot? I mean, well, I presume so, because you're saving other people's lives, aren't you?
Well, if it's a black kid, they're gonna
They're going to take
they're
him.
gonna fill him full of lead.
You gotta be careful where you shoot a suicide bomber, haven't you?
How come? Well, in case they come running at you.
Well, you don't want that a spark set. You don't know what kind of explosives he's got on him. Could be something volatile.
That's true, but you're gonna have to take that risk, aren't you? Headshot.
You're gonna have to triple tap him in the head.
Or like
That's
they
very
did,
dark.
or like they did in Scotland. Do you remember the guy set himself on fire?
Yeah.
And so this taxi driver just started booting him in the testicles.
Punching him. And only in Scotland will they punch a flaming man.
He's on fire and he's going, "Hey, you fucking mad cunt!" Just booting him in the
I mean,
testicles.
he was just looking for someone to boot in the testicles. The fact he was a terrorist was a bonus. He's Scottish. He'd gone 20 minutes at kicking someone. So he's like, oh, fucking hell.
Did he make that choice?
Yes, because he would have saved more lives, didn't he?
Was he compelled to make the
By
choice
society.
based on
Well, he could have just turned around and walked away. Thought, fuck that.
had he been watching
Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan the night before? Yeah, you know.
Well,
Ultraman.
One of the main assumptions of the humanistic approach is that humans have free will. Not all behaviour is determined. Personal agency is the humanistic term for the exercise of free will, and personal agency refers to the choices we make in life, the paths we go down, and their consequences. For humanistic psychologists such as Maslow, writing in 1943, and Rogers in 1951, freedom is not only possible but also necessary if we are to become fully functional human beings. Both see self-actualization as a unique human need and form of motivation, setting us apart from all other species. There is thus a line to be drawn between the natural and social sciences. Motivation, the human spirit, it sets us apart from everything else.
I was going to say, because I was just thinking, I was looking Chester's there, like dogs and cats, they're driven by
Natural instincts, aren't they?
hunger, tiredness.
Need for shelter.
Yeah.
The loins.
Yes.
Yep. Fear.
Yeah. It's quite humorous, you know. We have a male dog and a female dog at home, and the female dog has a power display, a dominance display. She humps as if she has a penis. The male dog, and rather spectacularly, hilariously, she tends to hump his head. She's truly telling him, you are nothing. But yeah, I'm like, where's she got that, like, do you know what I mean? Where's she learned that? Like,
that is complete instinct, isn't it? Because it's that's a power thing. I'm above you in the pack. I can do this to you, and you'll fucking take it.
yeah, he does.
What kind of dogs are they?
They're both French bulldogs,
Oh.
but the female's quite slightly bigger than the male, and she was there first, so she's dominant. But it's the humping that gets me. Like, has she like seen that and is copying it, or like?
Has she been bred?
She has been shagged, but it didn't take. So.
Well, my parents' female dog does that. Humps Teddy. And she's a female, so.
Max has a cushion.
Yeah, my mum and
There's
dad's
a
dog.
humping cushion.
He's got his face.
So go don't put the humping cushion on the sofa. Stick that down the side.
Yeah.
He'll get it out when he wants it.
But you see, but I'd like to think that we've got an extra level to us that the cat hasn't got.
Well, that's it. Self-determination and personal agency.
Or is it just society? I mean, you can't just go humping whatever you want. You're going to get arrested.
No, you cannot, Mike.
You know what I mean? So is that is your free will constricted therefore by society and the rules that we live by? And
but some rules aren't like society
monkeys.
Rules that they're not.
Same with monkeys, they get cast out the troop, don't they, if they do something?
Yeah, you would, even if, right, say if it wasn't, there were no sexual laws, right, like nothing could be charged as a crime sexually, you'd still be ostracised.
Yeah.
For being oh, he's such a weirdo, he tries to fuck people's nans, kids, dogs. Like, you'd deal with it yourself, wouldn't you? You'd still be...
You'd be...
Do you know what I mean? I don't think we stop ourselves from fucking kids and animals and grannies.
Of course, they're going to cause harm in the community, and we're a social species.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Our free will is constrained by the laws of the land, isn't it? And certain moral codes that have been handed down to us from generation to generation.
Traditional Christian
Learned
values.
learned behaviour.
But you still have to choose to obey it or not, and plenty of people don't.
Like, there's certain laws. Speaking of us three, we abide pretty much all of them, don't we? There's just like a couple that you're like, fuck it, I'm willing to break that one.
The little minor things. Obviously, I'm a completely law-abiding citizen.
Oh, yes.
I'm an upstanding member of society.
Yes, obviously, as a politician.
Yeah, there's certain things like speeding, drugs, things like that. Now and again, you.
Whereas on some people's moral compass, they absolutely wouldn't.
Oh, I'll throw the book at you.
Yeah.
So, well, Freud's into it as well. To take a simple example, when two chemicals react, there's no sense in imagining that they could behave in any other way than the way they do. However, when two people come together, they could agree, fall out, come to a compromise, start a fight, and so on. So your chemicals can react all they want. They're going to do the same thing. But if you put us three in a room and give us a subject to talk about, chances are we're going to have varying views.
Like this subject.
Like this subject. Hence the perfect definition of free will being talking about whether we've got free will or not.
But in my argument, it isn't your free will, it's your past experiences, it's your biological makeup, it's your emotions, your chemical reactions in your brain that are making you come to that conclusion.
It's all about choice and free will.
It's a mind fuck, innit?
It's just horrible to think that, like, because I think there's a middle ground.
But is it horrible?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
I don't like
it would make us a more compassionate and empathetic society, wouldn't it?
But I don't buy that if things aren't going well for you, then it's not my fault that this is. It's not because of the choices I made that have led me to this point in my life. It's all society, genetic, and that is a victim mentality.
Well, we used to believe that when there's an earthquake or a thunderstorm or a crop dies, it's the old woman down the lane that's done it, and we go and burn up the stage.
Well, did it work?
No.
Sometimes
We
it might
realised
have.
that, didn't we? We realised, hang on, it's not her fault. She didn't do
Yes,
anything
and
to do with
but that is a law. That becomes law.
Well, it's society.
It's a societal law. We could still do that if we wanted to. There's nothing to stop us going finding an old woman who lives near the woods, tied to a stake and burn her because we think she's caused my hair loss.
Well, that's what I was planning to do tomorrow.
You know, but we know that that doesn't work. That's progress.
Yeah, so we don't beat the kids
But
now in the school if they don't understand the lesson.
Well, that might not be progress. It might be. We don't know. Judging by some of these fuckers that come out, I think they could have done with a beating.
Did Jesus, as it's Easter Sunday tomorrow at the time of recording, did Jesus decide to come back from the dead, or was he compelled?
Well, I'm glad you brought up Jesus, because what was one of his sayings? Forgive them, for they know not what they do.
You're using... Yeah, but
Yeah,
by that...
Yeah,
they don't know he's a son of God, is what they say.
Taking it out of context and applying that to...
Yeah, but could he not have meant this?
No, he's unfair. They don't know who I am.
Yeah, they don't know who I am. He's not Ronnie Parkinson. He's not going, do you know who I am? I'm fucking Jesus, I am.
No, he's saying forgive them.
I'm the son of God,
They
I
know
am.
not what they do. They're,
Forgive
Mm.
they've
them.
been driven to that by the...
Yeah, but he also told us to be
Forgive
nice
them
and love
because-
each other. It's got to happen, won't it?
Forgive them because psychologically speaking, determinism has probably led them to this choice, and it wasn't really a choice.
But I'm sorry, Mike,
I don't think that's what he was saying.
Oh, right, okay.
to counter the Bible, who gave us...
How dare you?
To counter your biblical argument, right, about the New Testament, we go to the Old Testament, mankind was created with free will.
I don't believe in the Old Testament.
Well, you're not even a New Testament guy, are you?
I'm a Jesus hippie guy, of course. I don't believe in the old...
So I think
Nasty
you've
God
got. I
that
think you've got to do
revenge
both. I don't
film.
think you can just pick and choose it.
Of course you can.
I don't think you
Of
can.
course you can.
It's all the word of God.
You have people that choose just the Jesus bit.
I think aren't they Jehovah's Witnesses?
Yeah.
Yeah, but look at them. They're weirdos.
Well, they may well be, but they might be right. You don't
They're
know.
probably not, though, are they? They wouldn't have to go. If they were right, Mike, they wouldn't have to go door to door, trying to get fucking converts to their cult.
You don't know for certain.
Well, no, I don't know for certain. But if it was any good, people they would have to go door to door, drumming up support. You don't see the Church of England going door to
They
door,
actually write to me every month.
do they?
Yeah. I have a handwritten letter.
Once, I don't know how young I was probably about 12, 13, and I answered the door on a Sunday, and it was them. Oh God. Being young and polite, like they were going on at me, and they'd give me a magazine, and they were talking, and just heard my dad from upstairs go, "Go off! Tell him to fuck off!" I was like, sorry, bye. But they're so pathetic, though. They were like, a man has just screamed at you to fuck off.
They don't go to my mum's house because my nan used to live there, and we told them not to.
Right.
It's just like, no, she's really old, and I don't want you talking to her.
No.
Quite frankly. And secondly, at my house, and it was already there when I moved in. There's a big sign by the door saying, "Do not knock unless invited." And the old guy had it up, and I've never taken it down because I like it. It keeps the Jovos away. Sorry, Jehovah's Witnesses away.
Bless him.
But they are a bit of a lunatic fringe. Let's face it.
There's definitely better things they could do with their time. You still see them out and about though now and then.
They do. I saw some the other week actually.
The Mormons get me when you see like a couple of American lads walking around Montgomery. Like, what are you doing, boys? Like, no one gives a fuck, especially not round here. Like, you've left America for Montgomery.
Sets them up for life, that does, mate, if they do that, apparently.
Mm.
They get a higher position
Right.
because they've gone off and done actual missionary work.
Right.
I wouldn't call it actual missionary work. I say missionary work is like going and introduced it to a pygmy tribe yourself. That's missionary work for me. But going to a comfortable Western country and walk around and try and convince the local pisshead that you should become a Mormon.
They're always in shitholes though. I was in Sutton Hill once, and you know I used to play basketball. 2 American Mormons came along, and they were like, "Hey man, can we play?" Yeah man. Fucking hell, they were fucking amazing. In their shirts and ties, fucking wipe the floor with us. But inevitably, we had a nice game of basketball. It was actually quite a beautiful moment. Young hoodlums in Sutton Hill, and these, 2 Americans.
Wonderfully naive Americans.
Yeah, and we have a good game of basketball. And it's all good fun. We're sitting down all sweating in the sun afterwards.
And you robbed and beat them.
No, and then they start.
We took their shirt and shoes.
They had to ruin it with God talk, didn't they? Oh mate, I don't care. But yeah, that's my only Mormon experience.
I had one at the bus stop a few weeks ago. Last year.
I don't think I've ever met one, to be honest.
I had my t-shirt on, so it was summer.
Right.
Definitely. Because I've got the V for Vendetta tattoo.
Yeah.
And he tried to get me to talk about God, and I said, "Look, mate, you're barking up the wrong tree. I am a spiritual void." I said, "I don't believe in any of it." I said, "I've never felt the urge to have any kind of spiritual connectivity. It's not a part of me."
You're not going to join me at church on Sunday then?
No, mate.
You're not going to explore your chakras.
I'm going for the Easter service tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not.
It's going to be very pleasant.
I'm going to have a lie in and I'm going to walk the dog. That's my perfect Sunday.
We're going to have a good old sing-song. Merry Easter, everyone. Do-do-do-do. There's dead Jesus.
There's only one person I care about that died and came back from the dead, and his name is Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Back to free will.
Sorry.
Critical evaluations. Psychologists who take the free will view suggest that determinism removes freedom and dignity and devalues human behaviour. Absolutely.
I agree, that's why I don't like the idea of it, but I've got to be honest, I do when you...
Doesn't matter, it's kind of what's right or not, isn't it? It's
But when you break it down and think, all your chemical decisions... Oh, fucking hell, but I'm going to like this now. I'm lighting it, me.
There are important implications to taking either side in this debate. Deterministic explanations of behaviour reduce individual responsibility.
Wasn't me, Gov.
Yeah, you didn't like that fag. Your nicotine...
I'm addicted.
Yeah, it compelled you.
Hopelessly addicted.
A person arrested for a violent attack, for example, might plead they were not responsible for their behaviour. It was due to their upbringing, a bang on the head they received earlier in life, recent relationship stresses, or a psychiatric problem. In other words, their behaviour was determined. And I think that's... You still got that choice. That's all I'm saying. You've always got that choice to do whatever. You are making a choice.
But like I said, now we take these things into account, don't we? When we sentence people.
But so many serial killers receive blows to the head. What are you going to do? Let them off?
I'm not saying you let them off.
Or diminish responsibility, but he's got 26 people under the floor.
Determinism.
Sorry, I had a blow to the head during a football game. Caused me obviously undiscovered brain damage, so I've killed 26 people. They're under the floor. Well, let him off then, shall we? Bullshit. You make the choice. You make a choice.
Undiscovered brain.
But
Star Trek 8, undiscovered brain
even
damage.
Even if it wasn't his fault, we'd still put him in prison because he's a danger to society. That doesn't change what would happen to him.
You still have to make a choice. You still have to do it. Plenty of people have blows to the head don't become serial killers. They choose a choice not to. We all thought about it.
Or maybe we put them in prison instead of just leave him to rot in a cell. We actually try and treat their disorders, whatever is ailing them, so they can actually become a normal person.
Ah, shoot the guns.
What are you going to do if you think you cured him? You're going to let him out on the streets again?
Well,
it's killed 26 people.
I don't know. That's something that society's going to decide, isn't it?
But that's so he comes down to
Well,
he
you
has to
come
have a
from a
choice.
compassionate and empathetic place. You say, right, You can't carry on doing that, mate. We're going to have to put you away.
You can't carry on doing Hey, when 26,
That's out of order, that
26 we know about. Oh, sorry, but you can't keep on doing that, I'm afraid.
Come on, mate.
Come on,
Come
have
on.
a hug.
Come on,
Give me
mate.
a hug.
We'll put you in a secure facility where you can't do that anymore, and we'll help you get over the problems that led to that in the first place.
He's killed 26 people.
You might be able to redeem that person.
You can't let him off for killing 26 people, Mike, and try and cure him.
I never said let him off.
I'm sorry.
I never said. Did I say let him off, guys? I never
Let's
said.
rehabilitate him and maybe let him back into society. He's killed 26 people. Throw him in a jail and leave him to fucking rot. We made the choice.
When you say rehabilitate, do you mean beat with a stick?
That's. Are we talking turn of the 19th century Karl Panzram-esque rehabilitation?
Definitely not.
Sodomy and fire hoses.
Like, it's like Indian style. I've seen lots of videos of Punjabi policemen. They just beat the shit out of people with sticks. Like,
But it's their free will to beat people with sticks.
Certainly learn your lesson.
Mental illnesses appear to undermine the concept of free will. For example, individuals with OCD lose control of their thoughts and actions, and people with depression lose control over their emotions. Still got to make a choice.
I was going to say, have you ever been like, right, thinking about something you don't want to think about and it's making you sad, so you have a word with yourself and you go, right, I'm going to stop thinking about this, and I'm going to make myself think about something else. And you do.
Because you know the consequences if you don't.
Yeah.
You're going to become more depressed, it's going to make you
still
more
choosing,
down.
but sometimes you might
choosing.
choose the depression.
Yeah. Sometimes you do.
Oh,
But is it your biological impulses that are making you make that choice?
when I'm playing a video game and all this complex thing is happening, I'm deciding and reacting, that's got fuck all to do with my past experiences, has it?
In some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. This is the problem, because you're like, I won't do that now because last time I did that, I died horribly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can still go, you know what, I'm a better player now, I could do that.
Yeah,
So you're still making a
experiences
choice.
Led to that choice.
It's still a choice. Because you can always go against what your experience tells you. You're still making a choice.
Well, this sounds like a thrilling website, Mike. I'm going to add this one to my homepage. The Information Philosopher. Solving philosophical problems with the new Information Philosophy.
Wow. So it's also the idea in physics that the laws of nature, such as Isaac Newton's laws of motion, are causal laws. Causal laws. Newton's laws are mathematical equations, functions of time. Once you know the positions and velocities of all the particles in the universe, you can put in any time in the past or future, and these differential equations tell you everything that has happened and ever can happen. Well, that's blowing my fucking mind.
This is super determinism, Gaz.
Right.
It's saying that we can predict in computer models the complete and utter evolution of time in the universe, and where everything's going to be, and how we pretty much know how the universe is going to end.
We think we know.
It's going to be a slow death.
Well, the sun's going to burn out, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, in the whole universe, the matter's going to become too far apart from each other, and all that's going to be left is a black holes that are just eventually going to die, and that the universe is just going to be nothing. Right, so we can predict that. So they're saying that if we can predict everything that's going to happen in the universe, therefore everything must be already determined.
Well, then why can't
planets don't have free will.
Why aren't people making millions predicting the sports outcomes and? Do you know what I mean? Never mind trying to predict black holes in the future.
Maybe
if you're that fucking clever, science boy.
Maybe if every player was analysed, to the nth degree, perhaps you could predict. We haven't got the computing power to probably do it at the moment.
They always do those supercomputer predictions at the start of the season, and we never hear if they're accurate or not by the end, do we?
No.
And the amount of data taken on sports players nowadays at the top levels would surely be enough for that supercomputer to get that table spot on.
Well,
if we knew, even down to the players what they ate for their food, how much sleep did they get last night, if you know every single determinable factor,
You could probably
You could
predict.
probably predict it, couldn't you?
But they haven't got the computing power. So what I'm
Can't do
saying
it
is,
now.
some things are still up in the wind.
As far as we're concerned,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
but the universe already knows. The universe it's already been determined.
Or does it?
Well, that's the argument.
Is that going to happen?
Well, that's the argument, isn't
I
it?
mean, stars and planets aren't governed by free will. You know, they go
No,
in a
they're
set.
not. That's
They
the
go
whole
in a
point.
set thing.
George
Exactly.
Lucas.
So when that's happening, yeah, because there's no individual thought to that.
It's saying that once you know the positions and velocities of all the particles in the universe, you can put in any time in the past or future, and they will tell you everything that's happened and likely will ever happen.
George Lucas said to Hayden Christensen, apparently, even when Anakin is Darth Vader, he's still the chosen one. Because he was always going to come back
Yeah.
to the light and chuck the Emperor down the shaft.
Yeah, the prophecy's misleading,
Mm.
isn't it?
It was misinterpreted.
Yeah.
So that's determinism, isn't it?
But in the Star Wars galaxy, there's psychic powers where every Jedi is at some level a precog because they have mystic powers.
Exactly, so they know.
But your average bloke running the cafeteria on the corner street of political district in Coruscant, he hasn't got that going for him.
No, but it doesn't matter, does it? Doesn't matter whether he can. The normal guy can't detect it or not. It's still determined.
So what's the
But
fucking
as
point
As far
in
as
anything
he's
then?
aware, it's free will, but
But
that's an illusion.
what changes for him? The Empire rules, the Republic rules, the bloke running the diner's just in the same boat.
He carries on thinking he's going through life, he's got free will.
He doesn't know about this prophecy.
No.
He doesn't care if a Jedi or a Sith. He doesn't know the differences.
But he's living in ignorance, isn't he? He's living in illusion.
All he cares about is running that diner to the best of his abilities. And so what? There's some blokes. There aren't clones in there anymore. There's blokes in different uniforms.
So, what's the point in existing?
Point in existing.
I've
no idea.
Determined.
What's
If it's
the
all-
meaning? You just ask what's the meaning of life.
So it's,
42. There you
so
go.
it's already been written. It's already been planned. It's already gonna.
But it doesn't make any difference, does it?
I was gonna say because I'm still gonna go. Even if I haven't got free will, I think I have. So I'll carry on. Once we've forgotten about this episode,
Yeah.
like
The bloke.
the next couple of days, I'll just carry on being like, oh, I've decided to put this T-shirt on today.
The physicist, he sort of. I watched a lot of videos about him. I forget Sapolsky.
Oh, Sapolsky's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said that he tries to live 3 minutes a day, believing that everything is determined. He says he can't do it because
Right.
there's so many factors, so many things happening. He says you can only go like 3 minutes living like that. It's impossible. Then you go back to the original setting that you know that you believe you got free will and try and actually live your life believing there's no free will. It's virtually impossible.
He was just a teenage edgelord. I listened to an interview with him, and he's like, "When I was 14, I decided there was no God, and I couldn't decide my own future." You know, oh great, what a fucking revelation to have.
Do you know what I was doing, mate? Sonic 2.
Sonic 2 and masturbating. Not to Sonic 2, but you know, in my other time when I wasn't playing Sonic 2, I was probably masturbating. I wasn't lying there having deep existential conversations about the existence of God and the choice of my free will.
No, but he did. So
I fucking hate
He's
child
probably-
prodigies.
got more authority in this than you.
But he can't prove it, and neither can I. which
Even
puts us on an
Einstein
equal
believed
footing.
in determinism.
Right, so I wasn't right about everything.
He was right about most things.
Doesn't matter, he's got 100%.
He was right about that big old bomb.
Yeah, yeah, he was.
I have become death, the destroyer of worlds.
We'll do an episode around the anniversary of the Hiroshima bomb. We'll do an episode on it, shall we?
Well, funnily enough, I've actually been, because I've watched several documentaries about Godzilla in the last few days, I'm quite up on my Hiroshima and what was the other town they did?
Nagasaki.
That's it.
By accident, Nagasaki.
Do you know they picked one of the towns they picked? There was one target they were going to do. And it wasn't Oppenheimer, but whoever was the general.
It was Tokyo, and one of the guys went, "No,
He
I
was
went
like,
there."
no,
all
I've
day."
been there. I like it there.
Yeah.
It's nice there. We won't do that. Do you imagine? That's how millions of people are alive because one guy was like, Oh no, it's quite nice there. Don't bomb that one. Pick a different one.
It wasn't Tokyo. It was somewhere else. It was like one of the really old imperial palacey towns.
Well, so where are we? The hungry judge effect.
Yeah, just
This is mad. It's a finding that judges are more inclined to be lenient after a meal, but more severe before the break. So a study of the decisions of Israeli parole boards was made in 2011.
Well, there's your first mistake.
This found that the granting of parole was 65% at the start of a session, but would drop to nearly 0 before a meal break. So the more hungry they got, the less lenient they became.
So your future is down to whether or not he had
What time's
big
lunch?
fat breakfast.
Yep, and it's not only that. Birthdays as well.
To be fair, the Snickers advert, you're not you when you're hungry.
Yes.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
There you go.
But you made the choice to skip breakfast, or not have enough of breakfast to actually lunch, or take a snack. You made that choice.
Oh God.
There's also
And also, you have to take into account the cases there, Mike. They said the Israeli parole board. Hey, what are these people up for? Were they for terrorism? Were they for murder?
No.
That's the thing. You can't really throw that because you don't know the statistics behind
Well, no,
the
but
65% figure.
But it's a hell of a drop, isn't it? It's not a statistical anomaly.
Maybe all the really bad guys are up before lunch.
Maybe. But you have to assume that it's random. You have to.
Oh,
Or they would have put it in. They would have put it in the.
Mike.
They would have looked at the biases and everything, wouldn't they?
Mike, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me.
But apparently it depends on your birthday as well.
Right.
There was another study done. Judicial leniency on defendant birthdays across 5 million decisions. This was done in France. No leniency appears in the days before or after a defendant's birthday. But on the birthday, they were much more lenient.
So if you're in court on your birthday,
Yeah.
the judge is going to look after
Basically, your chances doubled.
Still depends on what you've done, though, doesn't it?
Because they're in a bit of a quandary. They want to punish them for the crime, but society says also be nice to a person because it's their
you on
birthday.
their birthday. So
How much free will are they having in these decisions? Because it seems to be determined whether they're hungry or it's the defendant's birthday.
Isn't it more just like his free will is being influenced rather than determined?
Yes.
Could be that.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Could be that.
But at the same time, he may decide not to do that.
you could get an absolute bastard who goes, birthday?
Happy birthday,
Happy
5
birthday,
years.
you cunt. Have that, because some people get off on being mean.
Without knowing the cases and the times for the hungry judge, you can't say that that's a factor. Might be that all the really bad guys go up right before lunch. We don't know. This one is certainly a societal thing, but the judge still has to make the decision on whether he's going to follow societal trend or not. Some may take that as a personal decision they took a long time ago.
But it's saying that on average they do. US sentences are 33% shorter, and French are nearly half.
Oh, then again, we don't know what cases they were.
5 million cases, Ben. They did this study over.
That's 3 weeks in America.
5 million is a big fucking sample size.
It's a big sample size, but it also depends on what that person's done.
What it's saying is that the person, me and you have the same crimes, yeah?
Yeah.
I go and see the judge in the
Believe
morning.
me, Mike, we have not got the same crimes.
You've done the same crime, yeah? I go and see the judge in the morning, it's my birthday.
Yeah.
I get 5 years. You see him before lunch and it isn't your birthday, you're getting 10. That's what it's saying.
Thing is, I've already been a deal and sold you out at this point. I've not made that decision.
No surprises there.
Always a politician.
Ironically, this is why we need AI. That would be impartial. Doesn't get
We
hungry.
can't let it make decisions, Mike.
I'm not happy with the BBC. I've seen this screenshot going round. This actress, she's got an email from somebody at the BBC saying, "Oh, we've had the go ahead to use the AI voice, so we've got no need for Sarah now."
Fucking hell.
That's the reality. Imagine being actors who like.
Yeah. That's why they're arguing about it. Is you could use, if you've got footage of us from your films that you own, you could just AI it into something. We could be in stuff we're not putting our name to.
They're doing like this fake Joe Rogan adverts where it's like quite a convincing AI. Anyway, that's nothing to do with this. So what's happening here?
Right, we've had the arguments for determinism, now we're going to have the arguments for free will.
Right.
Experience of choice. Our subjective experience suggests we make choices freely. Daily we encounter situations requiring decision making from trivial to significant matters and feel in control of these decisions. This sense of autonomy and agency underpins a belief in free will as it reflects our internal perception of making unconstrained choices. So you're making hundreds of decisions a day.
Yep.
Based on experience, but also choice. You can choose to ignore your experience, or you can choose to go with it. You might have a difficult turn at work. You've got to reverse in.
Yeah.
And you're like, well...
I think you meant he's like, he's had a stroke or something.
Like a funny turn. Gas is on the news. A Telford man went insane at a roundabout.
You might have to reverse into a docking bay or something.
Load down a load of scousers.
Well, perfect example, you're taught as a driver, reverse in the space, you'd have to reverse out the space, but that comes with experience.
Of course.
You'll look at it and you'll go...
Yeah, because you've suffered the
right,
consequences before of not doing that.
If I drive in that space forward, I know from experience that when I come to back out of it, I won't be able to see and it'll be very difficult, so I'll go in the other way. That's a decision based on experience, but it's still my decision to go in.
Yeah, you could just say, you know what, I'm not... I can make that.
Yeah, I can't be asked to reverse, I'm going in forwards.
It's a more
Ignore
complicated...
my
But
experience.
the consequences have forced you into that decision. It's not your decision.
I still maintain there's a choice. Right? There has to be a choice. There is. You make the
There
turn
doesn't have
that
to be.
way.
That's the whole...
You make the turn
You
that
don't
way,
know.
or you go, you know what, I can make that, I'll be fine.
Because, like, I get it when it comes to some things, like certain types of decisions that are made, like, your experiences are informing them. But then there's other things like, I don't know, you just finished a packet of crisps, but you're lying down. The bin's over there, so you're like, fuck it. I'm just going to chuck it on the floor and I'll put it in the bin when I get up.
Yeah.
Is that based on my previous experience, or in that moment have I just gone, fuck it?
Yeah, you've decided to be lazy. You made the choice to be lazy and not get up and put it in the bin.
I believe
because
it.
there's certain factors. You're comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to get up.
The cat's
So
on
Exactly,
me.
the consequences of
it's-
getting up.
No, but you could still go and do it. You know what? I will do that because it'll save me doing it in the morning.
Yeah. Because I ignore my experience. Here's a good example. Okay. If I make my sandwiches for work the night before, my morning is going to be much smoother. I can have 10 minutes extra in bed. It's just a much more pleasant experience. I know that.
Yep.
But yet I still go, fuck it, I'll do it in the morning. Get up in the morning and go, fucking hell, I know it's fucking better when I make it the night before. For fuck's sake, I've got to rush around and fucking do it. So what's going on there?
Well, you're in that moment.
But I'm ignoring my experience.
Yeah.
And I'm taking the shit consequences.
Yeah. But there's no reason to say that next night, you know, no.
I'm going to make a different choice.
I'm going to make a different choice.
Oh, God. There's got to be a bit of both.
What was your emotional state at the time? How stoned were you?
Quite stoned.
These things.
But you made the
These
decision.
things
But you
are-
made the decision to get stoned.
You can see how these things are influencing your decision.
But I chose to buy the weed.
Yeah. You chose to buy the weed. You chose to get stoned.
Yeah,
you chose to
you
use
love the consequence of smoking weed. You love the way it makes you feel.
Yes, but he still doesn't have to do it.
Yeah, but just because there's consequences to things doesn't mean I want that consequence. That's where I want to be. I want to be stoned. I want that consequence.
But what if one
So
night
I'm
you went
It's
choosing
a
it.
reward, isn't it?
One night you said...
It's all Pavlov reward thing.
Pavlovian.
Yeah.
But if one night you said, you know what, I don't want to do that.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Weed, I smoke more or less every day in my life. But alcohol, I choose depending on how I'm feeling on the day.
Yeah. How your mood is, how your emotional
Whereas
state.
I
That's
used to
influencing
be,
your decision, isn't
I
it?
used to be quite compelled. Even if I didn't feel like drinking, I would still buy the cans. I'd open them, and sometimes be
That's a
sitting there
force of habit.
going, "Fucking hell, I wasn't even in the mood for this. Why am I doing it?"
Well, that's even more.
So I'll choose not to
evidence that it isn't free will because he's just going through the motions. It's autonomous.
That's habit then.
Yeah.
Which you can still choose to break a habit.
You can.
I don't know. It sounds like a bit of.
But what brings you to that choice?
You can. Well,
Who
you
you
can say,
listen to-
I don't want to do
Have you
this
seen
anymore.
somebody die of cancer? If you know,
Yeah, but that's again. Well, I don't want that. I'm going to make the choice to not do it. I'm going to make just
what's
stop
driving
drinking.
you towards that choice? What's
Well,
influencing you? It's all the outside influences that have made
But
you.
you can still say, you know what, fuck it, I don't care. I'm going to keep smoking 40 a day and
But
go
it's-
out with lung cancer. You can
Despite
still
all,
make that choice,
The people do.
and people do.
despite all the outside influences, despite all your experiences, consequences, and all the rest of it, you're still the one going, yeah, I'm going to drink today, or I'm not going to drink today.
Yeah, but what's driving you to that
I
choice?
will go to
What's
that party, or
influencing
I
it?
won't. Me.
What's your Is it your emotions at the time?
The
Chemical
id. What is it? The id.
impulses
The
in the
ego.
brain.
Yeah,
Me. Whatever constitutes me. This little makeup of
Yeah, and
chemical.
what made you
spunk and eggs.
all the input? No, what made the person you are? It's all the input and influences that you've had in your life and your genetic makeup.
So what you're saying, not what this determinism is saying, is that we're just basically on a roller coaster ride. We've got no fucking control over anything. Nothing. It's just.
one blunder to the next. But then people go from one blunder to the next and not make an info and not choose to do it
Yeah,
the
there's
way.
plenty of mouth breathers out there that don't.
Just
They don't
bumbling
even have
along
it.
through life.
Mouth breathers, eh?
They don't even have a fucking voice in their head.
An inner voice.
Yeah, they don't have it.
They've still got that's
So
for
how
a
much
variety.
free will do they have? They're just on a.
They still have decision making
Do
capabilities.
they though?
Mike. Of course they do.
They still opened their wardrobe that morning and went, I'll go for that top.
Yeah, and what made them buy that top? Society, culture.
Oh God,
know
no!
what I
They
mean?
went in a shop and went, I like that. I want
Yeah,
that
why
one."
do they like it?
Because
Personal taste.
Yeah.
Because of what you've seen and been influenced by. And
but then you should have this choice. I'm
You
going
know.
to change my style.
if we went into a shop, a toy shop, for example, we'd probably buy different things. I might buy a board game, you'd buy a figure. That's influence.
But also that's what he likes. But,
Exactly.
but then he has to make the decision on what he's going to buy, which figures he's going to buy.
He's already.
So there's still a choice being
the
made.
decision's already made for him.
No, even if you no, you're still a choice.
Just
To
go
which,
with it.
There's still a choice to which one you're going to buy,
Yeah.
and you can still choose to not buy anything.
It's like I get this when they're talking about big things, but it's like when it's like mundane shit. Like before I met you two, I ran off to McDonald's because I was there earlier than I was expected to be. Right, a little bit peckish. I looked at the prices in the cinema and went, "Fuck off!" And I did a bit of a sprint over to McDonald's. Right, went to the touchscreen self-service thing. Doodly-do. I'm gonna have 2 cheeseburgers. I'm compelled by my genes
Compelled
and my
by your hunger.
experiences. But yeah, but I still there's 50 different things on that
Yeah,
menu.
you
mate.
choose the thing that you want. You fancy
Yes,
at
the
time.
thing that I wanted.
Because your emotional state and your fucking.
Oh, God.
No, because you could have just gone and have 2 double cheese or 1 double cheeseburgers and 2
The
single
chemicals
cheeseburgers.
and hormones in your body. I don't know.
You might have gone for like, you know what, fuck it, I'm having a triple and a single.
He's had them
Who
before
knows?
and he's enjoyed it. It's a memory.
But there's still a choice as well to go, well, you know, I'll have that again or I'll have something different. When I bought my vaping liquid, you went all tobacco, and I thought, shall I do that? Or shall I be adventurous? And go, you know what, I'm going to have bubblegum and sour apple and rainbow burst. And I
Wild
made that.
man.
I know, but that I made that choice to do it.
I believe so.
But what made you?
I mean, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to try a mixture of flavours, and I'm going to expect. I'm going to tease my newly rediscovered taste buds with something. So, what about moral responsibility? The concept of moral responsibility hinges on free will. Our legal and ethical systems are predicted on the assumption that individuals can choose between right and wrong. If free will didn't exist, holding people accountable for their actions would be unjust, as it would imply punishing individuals for decisions made under compulsion or determinism. So our whole system is based on the fact there's free will.
Yeah, but
We
a whole
choose
system,
to make it.
A whole system might be based on a lie.
But it might not be.
It might not be, but it might be. Just trying to imagine it is.
I like this system.
Do you?
Because we can't just be like, like you were saying earlier, he can't help doing the rape. He's determined to rape,
Yeah,
so he's.
no, you still got the choice, haven't you?
That's what I mean. Like,
No,
I
but
don't want people.
I'm not saying just let him carry on raping. I'm saying take him away from the situation where he's going to rape people. Yeah.
No, but my point is,
And
you're
then-
still, even if you're still punishing him, you're still
you
saying
don't have
though.
to punish him.
You do.
But in another world,
Yes, you do.
in this world we do, because
Mm.
it's all about free will. I'm trying to imagine a different world where you don't punish a person, you help them. Well, you probably identify it before it would happen.
In
I think.
determinism, you can't help him because he's determined. That's it. He's set out to do that.
No, because it's a chemical imbalance in his brain or whatever. We don't know what it is.
My-
Whatever it is, we'll find out what the problem is and fix it.
My
So
point is, you're letting him out, even if you still punish him by the law, by saying, "Oh, it's determinism," you're kind of letting him off the hook, in a way, morally, aren't you? Because you're saying he can't help it.
Mm.
Whereas if we say that dirty fucker chose to do these evil fucking things, and now he'll take his lumps. He made his bed. Now he'll lie in it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I go with. It doesn't matter. You're still making a decision to commit an act. You know that you will have consequences.
I definitely see both sides of
Mm.
this. I definitely see that I think there's a bit of both.
What about creativity and innovation? Human creativity and innovation suggest the existence of free will. The ability to think abstractly, imagine new possibilities, and bring them into reality through choices that aren't predetermined by past events or natural laws indicates a level of spontaneous decision-making characteristic of free will.
Well, that can be argued against.
But do you know what though? This is only one person's. It's anecdotal, but Bob Dylan, widely regarded as one of the greatest lyricists to have ever lived,
Can't go near Mr. Tambourine Man anymore, though, can you?
was.
You kept on hassling him. Play a song for me.
Oh.
All the time, play a song for me, play a song for me. It's not allowed within 50 feet of him now.
He said in an interview, because people obviously ask him, and he writes these epic songs that are like poems, you know, that like he's as good as, you know, anyone throughout history. Anyway, he was asked in an interview and he said that sometimes he felt that these songs already existed in the ether and he channeled them
Yep.
like an aerial.
But what did he read as he was a kid? Did he read epic Greek poems and you don't know what his input is?
Yeah, but my point is, what I'm saying is, like, I'm agreeing with not with determinism necessarily, but he's saying it was already out, it was there in the ether,
That's a bit
just
woo-woo,
waiting to be like channeled, and it would come out fully formed. Like, but you notice, like, you've had like creative
would that be
flourishes
like
where it just starts to come,
Yeah.
and there's other times when
yeah.
you sat there going, I can't think of the next word, and then other times. And he's saying when he got
Would
overtook
that be
by
like
his
a
feelings,
collective
like,
consciousness that we all have that you can tap into?
kind of like a gestalt.
Mm.
Like, but that's how he said it felt to him, that
Yeah.
he was channeling it from
I've had that. You know, he just writing
in the ether and it just came through him. So all creativity, even all what's led up to it, I just don't like the idea of it being taken out of your hands. So like you say, anybody who wrote a song, he didn't choose to write that song because it's all based on everything that happened to him led him to that moment to write that song. But he still chose to. He still felt that day to get the guitar out. And
Well, Freddie Mercury wrote a song called Fat Bottom
he
Girls.
certainly did, and it's a classic.
It's one of the finest songs ever written.
Yeah. Get on your bikes and ride.
But he didn't like Fat Bottom Girls,
No, he like fat cocked men.
Yes. So he chose to write a song about Fat Bottom Girls.
Yes. Left alone with Big Fat Fanny.
Yeah.
She
Who
was
basically molested him.
Such a naughty nanny.
Yeah.
Hey, big woman, you made a bad boy out of me. Fucking banger, Ben.
Isn't it? Like I say, he didn't like fat bottom women.
No. But so where do
But
you stand
did
on
his
this?
choice come from an unbroken chain of prior occurrences and genetic predispositions?
What's
Well,
that Offspring song? Welfare moms have kids on welfare.
Down the line.
Fat parents, they have fat kids too. An angry man gets drunk and beats his kids. Same old way his drunken father did. It's a bit of both. It's a bit of both because you stupid. Think of the hundreds, thousands of little stupid decisions. Like, where am I putting that? Like, I've just. Do you know what I mean? Is it determinism where I decide to put me lighter or be? I don't know. Oh, I'll put them in my pocket now. Or, do you know what I mean? Like, fucking.
My own personal thing with this is, think you're denying the human spirit. I think you're denying what makes us us. I think that thinking that everything's going to happen and having a shit life, and then, oh well, I've had a shit life, it's not my fault, it's determinism. Well, no, that just makes you a victim. I refuse to have a victim mentality. It's my free will. I'm not going to have that mentality.
But what if you're wrong?
What if they're wrong? What's it
What
matter?
about...
You know, what if they're wrong? What if the television's wrong? What if I'm wrong?
You can't just say, I'm going to believe
I'm going to believe that. I'm going to believe. I make decisions. I do. I went through a very long process where I changed myself for the better by making conscious decisions.
But were those decisions not yours? Were they made by external and internal forces?
No, I could have stayed the same. I could have wallowed in stuff. I made a decision not to.
Because of the consequences?
No, I was quite happy wallowing for a long time. I decided I wasn't going to do that anymore. That's not who I'm going to be from this day forward. I'm going to choose.
Make that choice.
But I still chose to do it. I still chose to get out of bed that morning. No, I'm not going to do that today.
You might not have made that choice.
And I might not have, and it could have lasted till now. It could have lasted forever.
No, but
I made the choice to go. I'm getting out of bed today.
I'm saying you're still getting out of bed and doing it, but it's not it might not be your choice to do that.
But it is.
It may be a combination of different factors, external and internal.
But it is my choice. I made the decision.
But it might not be your choice. That's what I'm trying to say.
But
you can't just say it is.
But it is. You're saying it might not be. I'm saying it is. What's the difference? There's no difference.
There's a big difference.
There's no debate here.
I'm not saying it isn't. You're saying it definitely is. I'm saying it might not be.
Well, I refuse to go with that. I'm making the decision to say I'm in charge.
That's cognitive dissonance.
No, I'm making the decision to say I'm in charge.
That's cognitive dissonance.
It's not.
It is.
You're
refusing to accept.
No, I am making a decision, and quite frankly, if you want to think
a possibility.
That, my shit life's everybody else's fault, then that's on you. And I feel sorry for people who think like that, because you should be. If you take human qualities out of the equation, hope out of the equation, what's the point of living without hope?
I think when it comes to bigger things like who you are morally. Right, let's say
you've got that from your parents, from your teachers.
That's where I agree. Some of this determinism. That's where I agree. When it like your character, your experiences, what you've been through, what you've seen, what you've learned, what you've studied. But little daft things like what T-shirt you're gonna wear today, like the idea that there's no free will, like. Mate, do not underestimate how empty-headed my decisions are. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the most simple, like, am I going to have ham or chicken today?
But what made you like ham? What made you like chicken? There's some societies where they don't eat pork.
You've never had it, you can't decide, can you? But
I don't know, my taste buds work.
You wouldn't have ham if you were a Jew. You wouldn't.
Yeah, but
you were brought up a Jew.
Yeah, but I'm not a Jew. I might eat
I know.
anything. But my point is, like, my personal taste, I like chicken. I don't understand how the
because the chemical reactions on your tongue that it's your taste buds.
I like chicken.
Yeah, then you're okay, chicken or ham. Well, there's chicken to the left, there's ham to the right. Oh, I have ham today. I like chicken, but I had it the last few days, so I'm going to have ham today. I'm going to make that choice to change.
I had ham yesterday. I just think when you're trying to apply it to, like I said, literally, like, think about some unconscious decisions, like, right, in a second, this cigarette's going to go out and I'm going to light it again, right? And then I'm going to decide to put this lighter somewhere. Don't fucking tell me my decision to put this lighter there is based on, because you're fucking Jewish, and like, because, all this, when you were young you saw your dad always used to put his lighter to the right hand side, he'd never put it to the left.
Maybe
unconsciously. Fuck off, I just put it I'll put it there. No.
Put it there because it's convenient. You're not going to get up around the room and go and put it in the kitchen.
Yeah, but my point is...
But he could do...
It's still... I'm not being compelled to, like, I must put the lights there.
It's logical, it's just...
But he could do... He could get up and go, you know what, I'm going to put that in the kitchen. But he's not going to because he's sat there quite comfortably. But he still could get up, take his lighter with him to the toilet, leave it in the toilet, ask to borrow mine. It could happen. Yeah. He could make that choice.
He could. But... it's a head fuck, to be fair.
I get what you're saying. I do get it. I haven't said much this episode because it's hard to put into words, but in my mind I understand what they're saying. That every decision I'm making, I've come to that decision based on my experiences, my genes, everything that's happened has brought me to this moment. And I get that when it's things of like whether shall I punch this child or not. But if it's like, do I want to wear my green t-shirt or my red t-shirt today? I'm gonna go with red. You know, like I can't see that's got any
emotions
deeper meaning. Yeah, no, I'm listening to them and responding accordingly.
Exactly. So you're following your emotions and following your instincts or whatever, and that's not a choice, is it? It's not a conscious choice. You're being.
Then he could choose to go, but then he could choose to go against that feeling and go with green.
Well, what makes him choose to rebel?
I don't know. I like to rebel against my inner monologue. It's fantastic.
What exactly are you rebelling against?
Everything.
What do you
got? Yeah.
Maybe he looks up to people that rebelled in society and he thinks, I want to be like that.
Well, maybe, Mike. I know this is fucking mental. This is mad to think, but I might have just gone, I fancy that red one today.
Maybe. That's the whole point. We don't actually know. But I'm beginning to lean more to the fact that I think it's determined.
I think the major things, I've got to agree, like, your moral, like, because you're driven by your moral compass, aren't you? But then there's also so many decisions that I'm forced to make that have got nothing to do with me. Like, I don't choose to put that uniform on every morning, do I?
Nope, you're forced to.
I'm fucking compelled because I need the money. And
Yeah, there are rules that stifle your free will. That's the thing. But
I do think I have free will.
Yeah. I would.
I think there's a bit of both. I'm afraid I'm sitting on the fence with this.
Do you have free will if you've got a brain parasite?
Well, no, you haven't in that scenario. I fully agree with you there.
Probably haven't.
So, in the case if you get a Toxoplasma gondii, is that right?
Same
Gondii?
thing.
No, Toxoplasma gondii, you don't want that. And he can turn a normal risk-averse mouse into a bold, cat-seeking rodent. Cats that devour such mice can then pass the parasite on to humans.
Yeah, this is mad. It actually makes the mouse in love with the cat and wanting to seek it out.
And the cat's like, hello, I'm going to kill you.
And it's a single-celled parasite.
But once humans are infected, what happens to them? Do they become Toxoplasma gondii zombies, acting however the parasite deems fit?
Has anyone seen The Last of Us?
Yeah, I've seen the first 2 or 3 episodes of it. I've lost track with that show.
That's sort of like this, isn't it? Where that fungus takes over their brain and
the girl with all the gifts as well. I've seen that. That was the same thing. That was a fungus.
Yes, that wasn't a bad film.
The book's quite good actually.
Yeah.
I read the book first. I was like, ooh. I got suckered into buying it by a salesman in the bookstore who figured out impulsively that I like zombie books.
Yeah, babe.
So once humans are infected, what happens to them? Well, the answer is complex. Studies show that people who test positive for this condition are more likely to take certain kinds of risks than those who don't have toxoplasmosis. And it's not clear how this happens. Now, Toxoplasma gondii can live in most mammals, but its life cycle traditionally involves living first inside a mouse or rat. That's likely because cats prey on rodents, giving the parasite a way to reach the catgut, the only known place where the parasite can reproduce, as catguts are rich in linoleic acid, an ingredient necessary for Toxoplasma gondii sex. Oh, I'm going to fucking be searching porn up for that later. Oh, you single cell organisms. See if I can get off now. Watching molecular pornography.
This is where we get into the good shit here.
To aid this transition from vermin to feline host, I'm going to call it TG from now on.
Toxoplasma
gondii. TG has a pretty disturbing technique: brain manipulation. The parasite alters the behaviour of rodents, making them less afraid of taking risks. It is also known to make mice attracted to the scent of cat poop. In other words, the parasite does something to the brain of the mice and rats to make them more likely to dart out in front of a cat to then be caught, killed and eaten. And humans are not immune to TG. In fact, at least a third of the world's population are thought to have it.
A third of the world's population.
Yeah. Some humans get infected when they clean out their pet cat's litter box, but many of us simply eat undercut meals or unwashed vegetables. So what does this mean for the 1 in 3 of us who end up playing host to the parasite? When it goes from rodents to cats, which can then expose it to humans, including pregnant women, And when you first get infected, you might have mild flu-like symptoms that most of us don't even realise. If you're a pregnant woman, then it's more concerning because it can harm the child, but largely infected people show almost no health issues or notable symptoms, said Marcus Pfitzer, a professor of strategy and entrepreneurship at the Frankfurt School of Finance and Management in Germany. Why is the professor of strategy and entrepreneurship at the School of Finance and Management giving me a biology lesson?
Because they wanted to find out how the parasite can affect decisions made in the business world.
So they're not going to employ people who've got a cat. Basically, they're going to put someone onto the director's board who's got a cat because they might have this parasite and make a rash, impulsive decision.
Maybe. Or in the world of finance, taking risks is actually quite good, isn't it?
Yeah, so it might work both. It might work both ways.
Yeah.
In big business, no. In stock market, yes.
Yeah.
In short, just like an infected mouse is more adventurous, an infected human is also prone to take risks, sometimes with pretty devastating consequences. At least two studies, one analysing 370 people in Turkey and another looking at nearly 600 people in the Czech Republic, have shown that people who test positive for TG antibodies are more likely to have a car crash. There isn't a lot of evidence to explain why and how latent infections of toxoplasmosis might infect people's personalities, such as making them less afraid of risk. The researchers behind the car crash studies, however, wrote that the parasite leaves behind lifelong cysts in the brain, which is thought to increase the production of dopamine, which is the happy chemical. It's a chemical measured in the brain that is known to affect people's risk and reward calculations that may have a role to play. So it affects your biological chemistry,
A
doesn't it?
third of the planet's population. Just think of that. A third of them.
Yep.
Their decisions
Nearly 3 billion people.
are being influenced by a parasite.
Yeah.
That's making you take more risks. And I'm sorry, but cats, them Egyptians worship them as gods. They're so good, they even have a fucking parasite, their own fucking parasite, that makes their prey more attracted to them and lets their human owners be like, well, I'll do anything for you. I get nothing in return, but I'll do anything.
Maybe.
A
So
third.
that is taking away your free will.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the parasite.
It's affected it. Yeah, your parasite's telling you, yeah, you can get round this corner at 90 mile an hour.
Ordinarily, you wouldn't, so you still got free will.
Yeah.
Well, stop.
He's got you there.
Say again.
Ordinarily, if
For
you
it
didn't have that infection, you wouldn't do what you're going to do.
For it to take away your free will must have existed in the first place.
Yes.
What are you doing philosophy?
I've been reading Marcus Aurelius. No, genuinely, I have.
Good lad. Well,
No, what I'm saying is it's not. The parasite is now controlling you, whereas before it was your chemical makeup, your emotional state, your past experiences, whatever, all combined, that was making the decisions for you, driving them decisions. Now it's just been replaced by a parasite.
well, the parasite, if it's not making decisions for me, it's affecting my. It's like
Yeah, the same as
it's making me take risks that I wouldn't have taken if I didn't have it.
Yes.
Like
So that thought process wouldn't have been there.
My danger of risk.
so now you
My
just
risk
swapped-
assessment has got a bit loosey goosey.
Mm.
So
Basically,
you might have, your decision tree. You're there. You've got to make this decision. A, what you'd usually take. B, a little bit more dangerous if you're feeling adventurous. And then it goes off on another tangent where it's like, this is what I'm going to do with the parasite, and it's worse.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that you didn't have free will to begin with. It's just that the parasite is now driving the decision rather than the other things. See what I mean?
Well, I think it's like the
So
car
you didn't get
accident.
me.
The
Nearly
car.
got you. I fucking nearly got you.
I had to think about it.
And I
but
still maintain that the parasite is removing your free will.
I'm saying it's not.
The car accident people, though, it's basically it's making them think, I can do this speed.
Yeah.
When you really like.
I can make this turn.
Yeah.
I'm practically an F1 driver.
Yeah, no, you're not, sir.
That's
No,
it.
You're dead.
No, you're not.
You're dead. Fucking fascinating, man.
Yeah.
Because I do think that my cat has a weird power over me. I've often thought this, like, why am I so fucking beholden to you? Well, you've diseased me, that's why.
in the Egyptian. Remember, in the Egyptian times, there's been a lot more cat piss and a lot more rats.
Yeah.
Like, I literally potentially have a parasite in my mind that is making me love you.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's fucked up, isn't it?
Removing your free will. Because otherwise you'd be looking at that relationship and go, well, what's she bringing?
Yeah, what am I getting out of this?
What's she bringing to the table?
Yeah.
She's bringing nothing to the table.
I just have to clean up her sick and shit.
Yeah,
That's it, on my bed.
Constantly.
I now have to wash my bedding, which is a massive pain in the ass.
The first thing that touches my face every morning is an anus.
Sorry.
Exactly.
I'm
gonna stop doing
will
that.
Will you move out, mate? You've got your own flat. Just. To be honest, I don't know why you're there every morning.
Or how you get in.
It ain't free will, and it's
It's toxoplasmosis, whatever it's called.
it's the brain parasite making me do it.
Like a trail of rats following you.
Fucking pipe.
Don't leave with your kids.
Oh god.
Maybe that's why you're so stuck on this mic you play. It's everything is cat parasite.
Yeah. Cat parasite.
Cat
Never do
parasite,
it.
I'm done. That's it. Everything I do because of the cat parasite.
We should rewrite everything I do it for you. Everything I do.
In the video, we sing into a brain parasite.
Do it because of you. Oh dear.
But then there's that one that gets in the snail, that fungal infection, which is kind of where they got the lactose from, isn't it?
Mm.
Where the snail's eyes go all fucking weird,
Yeah.
and it pilots the snail up a tree, so it can be eaten by a bird.
And it can pass
And it
on
can
to
pass
the
on
birds.
again.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And then there's like that
We've
one,
talked about that on here, I believe.
There's one that is the insect thing where there's basically a decayed cockroach which is being piloted by a
What's
by a
the one
parasite.
in the fish where it becomes the fish's tongue?
yeah.
I mean, that's not affecting its brain, I suppose, but it's like...
Makes it more hungry though, doesn't it?
It shows you how thick the fucking fish is, though, doesn't it? I'm your tongue now. Right? Who was that?
Yeah.
Oh, fish are dumb to get caught, let's face it.
Have you seen that? The fish are like, they see a hook and they're like...
Ooh.
Well, what was it? It was these two guys doing a video. And they're like, fish be like this. The one guy's like chewing on a hook like that, and then he disappears. And the other fish looks at the hook and is like, oh. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once you saw your mate,
Well, fish don't have free will.
fuck that. Well, no, they don't do it. They're driven by animals. See, this is why I'm with you again a little bit on this, Ben, is that I don't like the idea that we don't have any, because then that just makes us, we're no different than the fucking animals, the birds and the squirrels and I believe we are better than the animals, Mike. This is my problem
Are
with
we better
vegans.
now?
Yes, we are. This is my problem with vegans. Right. I'm sorry, vegans out there. I'm sorry that you don't see yourself as better than a chicken. I'm sorry that you don't, but a chicken's never going to achieve interstellar travel. A pig is never going to write a fucking sonnet. We are better than them.
But pigs never going to gas 6 million other pigs, or it's going to cause...
Yeah, but we've done good things as well. Come on.
Of course we
That
have.
was one bloke.
And clearly
that
you're-
was one fucking fucked up bloke.
Clearly you forget about Pig Hitler.
You know, we've done great things. You know, this is
Yeah.
my point when people are like, oh, you know, don't you... No, we're not on the level with a chicken, you fucking pervert. You're a human. You're magnificent.
This is
You've
why
got free will.
We're humanity.
Yeah. We're not chickens.
We're gonna fucking we've done some terrible things, but at the same time we've done a lot of good things. And without that spirit, that endeavour, without that free will, we are nothing.
I have seen. We used to have chickens, but they got killed by the fox, or a fox, not the fox. I've seen those chickens eat cigarette butts off the floor, and been like, no, what? Stop it! They can't help it. They're just like, it's a thing. It's in my mouth now. I've also seen those chickens. This is a bit fucked up, but we were having a barbecue once. I was eating a chicken leg, and I said to Lee, I wonder what would happen if you gave a chicken. I don't know. Should we find out?
And they ate it.
They went wild! They went fucking mental for it.
Wow.
Like, this is the best thing we've ever eaten, fucking hell. They went mad for it. And we were just like, oh, you sick fucks. You know, because they're just compelled, didn't they? They just can't eat food, I'm just gonna fucking eat it. I don't want to think of myself as being like that. Put a pussy in front of me, I will choose to fuck it or not.
Unfortunately, the truth doesn't care about your feelings, does it?
Oh, alright, Trump.
I'm just saying, it's like...
It's not even right wing with us, right? Here's me and Gaz preaching liberty and freedom for all, and you're a fucking heartless dictator.
You got all alt-right.
You'll do what we say.
Facts don't care about your feelings, man.
The truth is the truth, though, innit? You know, it's like...
But how do you know it's the truth?
We
This
don't.
is some philosopher's navel-gazing intellectual guff wank. He's wanking his own brain like, free will, free. Fuck off.
The
I
other
love that
side,
impression of
Gaz.
Einstein there. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
If you could see, I was literally wanking my brain. I am down the middle. I believe there is an element, obviously, of your genes and your experiences, and things can be passed on genetically. Some people think that even, there's some studies that think that, like, even things like racism can be genetically passed on. Trauma can be genetically passed on. These things, right? I believe that is an element of who I am, and it's affecting decisions I make. But I do also believe I am an autonomous, complex animal who's making decisions based on what I want.
I can still maintain, even with the learned behaviour thing, you still always have the choice to go, you know what, I'm not going to think that way anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to wear that t-shirt.
What makes you make that choice?
I'm not going to be like my parents. I'm not going to do
Because you've
this.
seen the consequences.
But you can still choose to not do it. You can go down that same route.
But these are the big ideas, aren't they? I'm not going to be that type of person, but I'm talking, let's bring it to the minutiae, the boring bullshit, cornflakes or Cocoa Pops, fucking them shoes or them ones. Like,
Yeah.
surely to fuck. There's no big grand, like, pre-programmed thing making them decisions for you. You're literally just like, I need to wear shoes. I've got 3 pairs. I need to pick one.
Yeah.
Well, they'll do today. Oh, that's based on what happened when you wore those other shoes last Wednesday. And
but you might,
The emotional state you're in.
You might
the chemical balance.
You
in your
might
brain.
have a favourite pair of shoes that you like to wear.
yes.
But at the same time, you know what? I haven't worn them for a while. I'm going to wear them.
Alright, I think we're going round in circles.
We are. Probably the longest pod we've done for fucking ages, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Did we choose it or we...
It's our free will.
It's been determined already, guys.
So I think it's pretty clear where we are. I think there's a bit of both for definite. I think it's pretty clear, Mike, what you...
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Einstein.
And determinism. Ben?
I'm a humanist, man. I'm on the side of free will.
Well, there's no right or wrong answer because it's unprovable, isn't it? It's a philosophical idea. It's an intellectual exercise. It's interesting.
Yep.
And it's scary. I think maybe we don't like the truth or the possibility that there is more determinism than we realise, but my ego wants me to believe I'm in control. So, there.
Fair enough. Oh, I think that's the end then.
Yeah.
Nice one.
I've been Ben. Thanks for listening. And I'm going to change it this week and say, do as thou wilt. With inconsequence. And every man and woman is a star.
What? Where's Ben gone? What's going on? What's happened to Ben? He's become a humanist.
I want what's best for the species.
This is getting weird.
It
Where's
is.
Ben? I'm only joking. Fair play. I appreciate your stance.
I'll be Mike. Thanks for listening. Peace out.
And I've been Gaz. Free Biff Tanner.